Guys, see, let me give you some basic outlines about how to extract the maximum out of this session. So we will be having considerable amount of discussions and debates about many things over here in the session today evening. I would like you to be interactive, answers the question. Uh, Ask me out if you are having any questions or doubts which you would like to discuss and debate with me about the same. Because if you are not engaging with me, then it will be just a lecture which you attend in your school days. I don't want this thing to be like a lecture which you attend in school day in and day out. This has to be something from which you can gain considerable amount of learnings and you can imbibe in your practical life and be successful few years down the line. Okay, so let's start the session. So the session guideline, let me brief you with the session guidelines. Uh, you can mute your audio, and if you want you can turn off your video, but I won't recommend turning off your video because it gives me positive energy to see all the beautiful faces. There will be professional engagement, so I would require everyone to maintain the decorum of the session so that if you are having any questions, I will answer every single question. I'm not going to leave you unanswered. Please ask your questions in the chat box only. If you have any questions, any doubt, any problem, raise your hand over there itself in the chat box, and you know how to use the chat box over here. So let's go ahead and so we are having an amazing opportunity for all the people who are in this session today, that you might be getting an interaction with a professional startup founder who has recently secured a good amount of funding. She will be giving an opportunity to you all guys how you can be collaborated with her and how you can learn the first-hand experience about how entrepreneurship is all about. Understand this thing, entrepreneurship is not a subject, it's not something you can read out, it's a professional journey, and you need to have a mentor who can let you know what are the tips and tricks which are required in this profession, what are the down skills and what are the up skills which are required, and what you will be looking out for. For that, I would request you all to pay proper attention to this session. Okay. So now coming to the first thing about entrepreneurship. Uh, so my dear audience, I would like to ask this one particular small question and a beautiful question to start the session with. What are the skills which you think a successful entrepreneur is having? It can be anyone. You might have read about a successful entrepreneur. You might be following a successful entrepreneur. But what, according to you, I want to know your insights. What are your insights regarding what is it actually required to be a successful entrepreneur in this post-modernized world? So we see the answers are coming in: creativity, innovation, leadership, communication. Okay, go on, go on. We are having 50 participants today. I want answers from everyone over here so that it is not lethargic. Leadership and risk taking. Yeah, risk taking is the perfect answer over here. Team collaboration, great. Great input from Riyans. Great input from Dhawan. Great input from Raina. Good, good. Team collaboration, team involvement. Yeah, great, great, great. Go on, guys. Just express yourself, self-confidence. Yeah, this is the basic important thing to even be a human being in this today's world. You need to have self-esteem. You need to be very much confident about your own self, what you are going to do, because majority of times in your life, whatever you are thinking, it's not exactly the same thing that other person can resonate to. I guess so that even you might understand this thing, that whatever your creative ideas are, not everyone is over there to support it. That's great. Speaking skills, great. Encouragement, respect for other works, great. Resilience, okay. That was a great input. Naisha, we have over you? Can you unmute yourself, Naisha?
Yes, sir.
Naisha, can you give me exact experience about resilience? Like even when there is a less revenue, even when you secure less marks or you did not clear one particular exam, how you
Yeah.
gain confidence in your own self? I am bet sure that
Yeah.
you might have also been the same stage of your life, and hence you have given this answer. So give me some inputs, like how you came down to this conclusion, because this is a very beautiful aspect of it.
Okay. So for me personally, because since I haven't done something like this before,
Mm-hmm.
one was my school. There are many times. So for me, I genuinely take studies seriously. But then, and even despite working for hours, there are some times when you don't get the marks that you want. For example, for me in math, for like 3, 4 years, I did not get the marks that I wanted. but
Mm-hmm.
I still worked hard.
Mm-hmm.
And despite those consecutive failures for 3 4 years, I upped my maths
Mm-hmm.
finally. So and
Mm-hmm.
apart from that, for me, like I also had this art account, and I started making and posting art. And at that particular point of time, from 100 to 100 followers, to keep working hard posting art, I went up to 9,000 followers. So I think that that's where I have seen resilience personally, because some things don't happen instantly. You have to stick it through even when there are disappointments.
Great, great answer, great answer. And that is a really very beautiful answer how you scale something. Even if you are failing at something at one point of time, the endurance has to be there about how you're going to pull yourself back and bring it back to the same table where you wanted to focus your own self. That was a really beautiful answer, Naisha. Thank you for giving that input. Thank you. Uh, Coming back to some other beautiful answers. Riyansh, can you unmute your own self? We are talking about focus and intelligence over here. So can you share some your inputs? What are your insights regarding this answer?
Hello,
Riyansh?
am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The main thing is that if someone doesn't know anything about a specific thing or industry, then
Hmm.
there is no point for a person to work in that industry.
Okay.
Like, I am no sci-fi or technology freak. If I am doing something in that industry, that will be completely pointless for me.
Okay.
If I
Uh,
d- and if I don't have enough focus, if my mind diverts one thing to other from every second, then there is no word.
Great, great input. Vishal, can you unmute yourself? Vishal Ramnani, there was this amazing insight from you regarding passion forward. So this
Yes,
one
sir.
word passion in this thing is really intriguing me. Can you just shed some light what according to you is passion for something? What is the difference between a hobby and a passion? Can you shed some light?
Hobby is that I like to do something. For example, we can take swimming. I like to swim in the water for several hours, or swim with people, or enjoy the swimming. I enjoy swimming basically. But
Okay.
what is passion? Passion is that I have to do that thing. I have to do that thing, and I have to how do I say it? That I have to get the most excellent work in that thing. For example, if I was a employee in a particular company, for example, take a IT company.
Okay.
Example as you, if you are employed in a IT company, then if your
Mm-hmm.
boss gives you a work that
Mm-hmm.
I need this code to be done by done in 4 weeks, okay,
Mm-hmm.
then your work should be this much of capable, that and the work should be more professional, and it should be done in 3 weeks, and the and boss should say, then it is the most excellent work.
Great, great insight. So, if I can reiterate it, passion is something that you do or die it at any given cost. No matter what someone is saying, no matter how someone is judging you, but you do it because you love it and it makes you happy. Can we have
Yes.
Anjali Bastar over here? That was a really great insight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vishal. We can have Anjali Bastar. She was talking about speaking skills over here.
Yes, sir.
So Anjali, when we talk about speaking skills, like I'm myself a person who
Yeah.
knows 7 languages over here. So what according to you is the essence of speaking skills? First of all, vocabulary. Second thing, the skill which is related to speaking. So
Yes.
can you just shed some light on it?
So the most important thing when you're doing a business is obviously communication, how you communicate with your employees, how you motivate them, and the way you are working with your employees. Like communication is, I guess, the very important thing which every business entrepreneur should have, like good skills so that they can speak to their employees, talk to them, and motivate them to work harder in their job, which will also motivate the employees to work harder, and they will have like a cool and like a very good environment when they are working, so they won't take less chances to lose their job, and plus they'll not take any chances to like leave or like take a leave or something like that. So they are motivated to work, they are liking it, the way of communication with the entrepreneur and its employees are having. That's what it's the most important thing I feel.
Great insights. Thank you for giving that insights, Anjali. I would like to move on to Dev Gupta over here. He also pointed out some amazing thing, which was ability to listen. So we all can understand this thing and we can relate this into our own self, that we as humans are having this tendency to just speak rather than listen it. But if we go, because I'm a follower of Nishin Daishin in Buddhism, so it is written in Vedas as well as it is written in history. The more you listen, the more you learn. The more you speak, the less you learn. So can we have Dev over here? Dev, can you unmute yourself and come out and let us know like what is your insight regarding ability to listen? What according to is why this is
Yes,
important?
sir. Yes, sir. Sir, as we know that for a business to succeed, there should be an link between the owner and the its members, and the main motive to and sir, main thing to promote that link is by communication, and communication is always by two ways. So you cannot succeed a business by always telling your ideas or not listening to others. So it will not it will not only lose their interest on something, and uh, and and they will not help you achieve your goals. But if you listen all to all their ideas, sir, they can also be hardworking and can work towards their work towards your goal and be excited toward it.
Okay, that's great. That's great insights. That was a really beautiful insights from your end. Can we have Ovesil Ahmed over here? He mentioned about self-confidence. So I would like to throw some light on this. Like self-confidence is something which tends to be broken from time to time. I guess so. Even you might have broken your self-confidence many of times. And it takes a lot of courage for us to come back again and be confident in our own self. So, Ovesil,
Yes,
can you
sir.
come up and share your insights regarding the same?
Yes, sir. So from the point when we start business, the first thing that comes to our mind is an idea, and that idea might not be a good idea to the person in front of me. But I should have the self-confidence to know that it's a good idea, and I should have some confidence in the idea so that I can produce it. Because one person might not like it, but the other might.
Okay, great, great, great. That was a beautiful insight. So one final question which I will take is from Vaishnavi Chaube. She mentioned about leadership. This one term can run a company or can dissolve a company, or this can run a country or can dissolve a country. We can all observe this thing quite clearly today in these times. So, Vaishnavi, can you come up and share us about the insights about leadership? What you think are the insights about leadership and what kind of leadership you resonate with? Do we have Vaishnavi over here? Vaishnavi Chaube? Vaishnavi, am I audible? Okay, I guess she might be having some internet problem. So let's move ahead and start our session. So let's welcome our guest for today. Her name is Miss Silky Singh. She's the founder of Repse. So can we have Silky ma'am over here on the session?
Hi, Nakul. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Silky ma'am. Very good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well.
I hope,
Keeping safe.
yeah, I hope everyone else is also staying safe back at their home and they are safe with their families and everything is doing great. So how was your day, ma'am? First of all, I know it has been a busy day and a busy schedule. So how you have been doing throughout the day?
It's been a busy month for us because we've been working on our application to launch.
Okay.
So, and COVID, these are unprecedented scenarios wherein we are facing something that we did not account for. So, on a daily basis, there's a lot of changes that is coming into our organization, and we are coming up with ideas to fast pace in terms of what we have lost out on time.
Okay. So, ma'am, today the conversation is all about going to be all about entrepreneurship as a career option for the students. And there's a general trend which we have observed these days about the basic ethics or the age of an entrepreneurship is shorting fall from time to time. Earlier, we used to see the people used to start up their own business at the age of 50, 60, and now this is coming down to 19, 20, 25, and 30. So can you help us understand what and why this psychology is affecting the school students or the college students so much that they want to be so much eager and learning about entrepreneurship and starting their own ventures? What is that one particular thing which is affecting their mindsets?
There's several of them. One is technology. Technology is enabling people to do multiple things. It's an enabler right now, right? So therefore, even if you had an idea back in, say 20 years back, you could not implement or build on that idea because the relevant technologies were not there, right? Second is the way Indian ecosystem is maturing. Right now, we are about 20 years behind US, is my thinking. Okay. US people have done these things in the past. There was an ecosystem, they understood what is funding, the technology and research was much acceptable. But in India, we grew up in a scenario, at least my generation, who's in their 30s, grew up in the scenario wherein taking up a job was a much better option, and we were pushed to do that by our parents, right? I mean, so there is no one particular answer to this, right? And these are actually two things that are the major driving factor when you look at the Indian ecosystem, because every ecosystem is different, right? It is based on your economy. US and Europe, the ecosystem is different. India, when you will actually start up your company, you will face different set of challenges versus what you will face in the US.
Okay. So with this insight, I come to first of all basic thought process. The education pedagogy over here in India is very different as compared to in Europe or in US or in London or in Singapore. We follow very different culture of education over here in India. We are still following the same route which was given to us by Britishers way back in 1947. So I want to understand how your thinking mindset and how your psychology has been all the time when you were growing up. I want to understand what were your thoughts and what were your ideologies when you were in class 9, 10, 11, 12, how you were brought up, what was the culture all about. Because if I remember about my growth and how I was brought up, I was brought up in Middle East. I had been traveling around the globe right from a very small age, and I have been learning about variety of cultures. So, does that cultural upbringing also affects your mindset as you are growing up, or how is it all about? So, can you just shed some light on the same?
Right. So first is about the education system. Our education system is actually very service driven.
Mm-hmm.
You guys should actually go back and figure out when was this education system built and when was it reformed. You are part of that education system. You have Google with you. You should look at what you are doing and why you are doing. Okay. So while we were studying, understand this very logically. Our education system is, it's a database of information that you store in your brain. And in exam, you access that database and just give out information. Very less logic is required. You guys will agree with me. There are very few subjects wherein we require logic, an analytical brain, research, innovation. That's missing in our education system. And it is detrimental to all of us. That is why we are behind. Okay. So you right now, what you can do, leveraging such platforms, you should be able to, gather such knowledge of how should you go about analytics, how you should go about certain kind of career options, etc. While we were growing up, we only knew, I'll tell you that what, and mostly still right now, that is the case. You might engineering or medical or civil services, right? Right now, there are some peripheries which are coming out in terms of, yeah, there are certain other careers that you can build on, right? The education system definitely needs a lot of reform. Till the time the reform doesn't come in, you should actively look out of education system. You should take that responsibility on yourself, because yourself, your personality needs to evolve, and you can't go back and say, oh, education system did that, right? So look out for things which will challenge you, which will give you more information. Read up, attend things like this, do talk to people who are from different careers, etc. It will give you a lot of perspective, right? I mean, don't be ever scared to go out and do those things. That's one. Culture definitely plays a very important role when it is about your education system, right? I mean, um, right now, the good part is the good part is we are at a stage whether we are equal, girls and guys are equal. So um, I also did not face that issue, but say 20-30 years back, that was a cultural barrier, right? So most of our moms are housewives. So you should understand how culture is impacting and also limiting at times in terms of um, your how you're thinking. Sometimes it is so imperative that you do not think that this is happening to me because of culture, right? So always question things in a positive manner. Why am I doing something? If education system is built in a way, should I just be like this in a go with the flow, or look out from it?
Okay.
Okay, somebody has a question.
Okay. With this thing, I would like to ask this thing like right now we are having internet. I want to search for something like I want to search about how the solar cells are working. I will go ahead and Google it out. But when we were growing up, there was no internet. I come from that generation where we used to have these huge boxes and we used to slog all day and the internet speed was very low. So how at that point of time you used to learn about the things and explore your options, career options, and how you got to know how you have to decide your career path? Like was entrepreneurship something which naturally happened to you, or was it something you were inspired from something? So I want to have some insights on the same.
Right. So see, entrepreneurship is a personality trait.
Mhm.
Okay. What is entrepreneurship? If you have to define it, you need to be a problem solver. You need to be a self-starter. You need to have confidence in yourself. And there are other set of things around this. Okay. There are you guys yourself have given so many of these pointers, right? In terms of entrepreneurs, what I'm just taking out those points. Entrepreneurship is something that is built in you. If you fuel that, it will come up, right? So as a kid, I was extremely innovative. I was extremely curious, and I was not shy. So I used to walk up to my father's friends and talk, and all that I used to do. While I was in college, I used to be part of all the different clubs and I used to interact with different college people. That what it does to you, and you will not realize it in a day, but over a period of time, it builds your personality in multiple ways. Okay. It will make you a good orator. It will make you a good uh, analytical brain. It'll give you a good analytical brain, because when you are talking to many people, and especially people who do not agree with your idea, innovation, thought process, it can be around anything, right? It can be around that Shoaib Akhtar ne ye wala ball is tarah se kyun dala. You're talking to somebody, you're analyzing somebody, and somebody is answering, right? So think about all these things in analytical way. And when you interact with more people, you are actually building up your personality. When I was part of different clubs, I used to travel to different colleges. All this, it did come out very handy while I started my company.
Okay, that's great. That was a beautiful insight which was shared by you. Coming down to the exit of the school, the ending of the school. That was most of the traumatizing part. Like we still miss our school because those were the hashtag golden days when we used to have all the fun and just writing exams was the toughest part of the life. But when we look back at the time now, when we see 10th ka board at 12th ka board, काफी आसान था real life से. I can say this thing right now.
Yeah.
So, what was your time frame at that point of time? What you had in your mindset? So now I am asking this question on the basis of the parameter right now, the society or the generation which we are dealing with right now, they are so into the GPA scenarios that if we are having 9 pointer, we are having 10 pointers, we are doing everything great. But at the same point of time, how education is really important by learning the skill set on first hand. Like I can be bet sure about, we never had internet back at that point of time. So after studying, we used to be involved in various other things. But these days, students are just limited to the internet and their laptop and their mobile phones. So how we can figure out our mindset and the framework that we have to be innovative, or we have to seek out the problems in the society. So how we are going to do that? How, what was your mindset back then when you were in 10th, 11th, and 12th?
Okay, in from 8th standard, we started preparing for engineering entrance. Okay, and IIT was a very big thing. Okay, so we were studying like crazy. We were almost studying like 16 hours a day. Did it help me? It helped me immensely. Did I crack IIT? No, I didn't. Okay.
Okay.
But what I studied has stayed with me and it built my fundamental knowledge. Like now also I remember so many of these equations which actually come handy, because if you know where to implement it, it will come handy. If you don't know how to implement it and you've done ratta, it will never come handy. So you better don't do it anyways. Okay, that is one takeaway that I have. Second, 10th and 12th was extremely confusing. Okay, we were going with a flow. We did not have exposure to different career options. We were just like, okay, IIT, IIT, IIT. And everybody was, my school may, I think, my class mein I think 10, 15 people went to IIT and then NIT and all this thing. So there was a lot of peer pressure. Now, this peer pressure is extremely negative. Okay, when I look back at it, it is very negative because you are not in a race and you are not in a race. Even if somebody tells you that, okay, it is a wrong way of looking at it. You need to understand what you're studying, because it is going to, it's a long race that you're going to be in. And it is a marathon where you're going to have your own timing. It is not that you're going to have, it's not a sprint that you're going to do. So that is one important thing that you keep in mind. Second, please understand all the different career options. I have met so many of my friends who got stuck in wrong career options and cannot get out of it. Okay, that is another thing. So while we were growing up, these were the major issues that I had in 10th and 12th, and it was a breeze. Like 10th and 12th standard was a breeze. I was in ICSE. I thought the papers were pretty easy. Engineering entrance exam papers were pretty tough. And to think about it, I never wanted to be an engineer. For me, engineering was something that everybody was doing, so I did. I should have done some other courses that I don't know what, but yeah, since I studied, it helped me.
Even I'm on the same boat with you. Like we belong from the same generation. कि बेटा 10th कर लो जिंदगी सॉर्ट हो जाएगी, बेटा 12th कर लो जिंदगी सॉर्ट हो जाएगी, बेटा बीटेक कर लो जिंदगी सॉर्ट हो जाएगी, बीटेक भी कर लिया, बेटा उसके बाद मास्टर्स कर लो, उसके बाद जिंदगी सॉर्ट हो जाए. बट एज अ मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट जिंदगी कभी सॉर्ट नहीं होती है. सो
ये सॉर्ट नहीं होती है, एग्जाम से सॉर्ट नहीं होता है, सॉर्ट तुम्हारे दिमाग में होता है. ओके, तो अपना दिमाग सॉर्ट करके रखना है कि तुम्हारा स्टेप बाय स्टेप क्या है. वो स्टेप तुम्हारा कभी कभी चेंज भी हो जाएगा, बिकॉज व्हाट विल हैपन, external situations will change, you will get new set of information, you will completely flip your career. That is all right, but whatever you've decided for a particular, say for example तुमको engineering नहीं करना था and you went to engineering, now there you decently study and make sure you pass and clear it. It's not like, unless you like are in a really great place where you can drop off and build a startup like many of the other entrepreneurs did, right? So whatever you pick up, do it decently. Should be the idea.
Okay, so at the same point of time, there was a very beautiful question which was asked by Naisha over here for the session. She's comparing the Indian education system and the working system over here as compared to in the West. Jesse, in the starting of the session, you said we are 20 years behind America. If we talk about America, a student at the age of 18 over there has to get out, do part-time jobs, collect the fees for the university, and go to university, pursue your degree, and then come back for the job. Over here in India, we are brought up in a way that okay, mummy fees भर देंगे, papa fees भर देंगे, college भी papa करवा देंगे, and उसके बाद we will figure out the job. How at this point of time, because these students are reading about a lot of things on internet, YouTube, there are multiple founders, there are multiple channels which are teaching you about how you should be beginning your career. But before starting off any career, this is really important that you understand the basic nuance of it. Otherwise, you will be running around the circle and you will be into the bushes and you won't ever target something out. So what are your insights before we start something in your career? How it is important to learn something and how we should learn something before we actually start, like be it any internship or be it any freelancing project, be it anything. But before I get into the business side or before I get into the market, what are the premier things I should be focusing
Right. So before that, you would see that there are entrepreneurs who have started businesses which has nothing to do with their education. And you will have so many people who are like this, right? So one is that when you are thinking about starting something, think about the problem statement. You have to be very clear. Okay, this is the problem statement. What am I trying to solve? You can't solve 10 problems at a time. You have to solve one problem. You can have 10 problems, but you have to solve first one problem and understand what you require to solve this problem, the resources that you require, whether you need a technological skill, analytical skill, right? Initially, you will not get a market research and consumer data. That is not how very big startups are also formed. You first think about starting as a prototype and then making it big. So think about, say, for example, somebody like Ola. Ola guys are not taxi drivers, right? They come from a technology background. Now, when they thought of solving this problem, they did they built a website and they started listing couple of these taxis, and they went to, it was done all offline. It wasn't done through app. Right now you see apps. It wasn't done through apps. Then they understood consumer behavior, right? They came back, implemented more things, understood that I need to do a training for driver, right? So you will not start with a lot of things on mind. You will start with a problem statement, and then the problem statement will take you to places which will tell you what are the different things that you will now require to build this business. Also, there was somebody who was mentioning that you need to know the domain before getting into it. Not necessarily. Okay. You need to know the problem. You need to have a solution around this,
on?
right? You need not know. So for example, you know a problem, and for the solution, you need to know coding, right? Code से ही वो solution निकलता है, but you don't know how to code. No problems. You get a software developer, right? But you know the solution कि मुझे उससे क्या solution develop कराना है. So you need not be a software developer to actually create that kind of a solution in the market. So never have this limitation in your mind. If you know the domain, then only you will be able to handle it. You can always be, if you are good at picking up, which you should always be as an entrepreneur, you should be picking up all different kinds of skill set on the go.
Okay. So now reiterating to the rephasing phase where after 12 you chose computer science engineering as your undergraduate. You completed that 4 years of very tough journey and then you started out to have your own venture. Now this is talking like point A and point B. Point A is all about engineering and you end up in an MNC and you do coding a whole day. But what was that thing which happened with you during these 4 years that you thought that no, I won't be going in that MNC thing and I will be starting my own things? Like I see that your company Repsi was founded 8 years back, if I'm not wrong.
This is my second company.
Okay.
I started my entrepreneurship journey in 2016.
Okay.
It was 4 years,
Okay.
5 years now. Yeah.
Okay.
So my first idea was in second year. I was always building ideas. Okay. And I had this. Now, nobody triggered this. The way nobody possibly triggered all this set of students who are right now here is because they have a inclination towards entrepreneurship or problem solving, right? So nobody triggered that. I used to build my ideas. I used to look for filing patents. I filed a couple of patents. I've done things around innovation. Okay. So for me, it was about, I look at a problem, I'm just lying on bed thinking about certain set of problems, write it down. And if I think it is good enough, I will build a idea around it. but I wasn't able to build a business around this because I didn't have so much of an exposure.
Okay.
Business models are very different as compared to idea. Your idea can be very innovative, but there is a possibility it'll never give you money, right?
Okay.
So you will come up with so many ideas like that, that it's great, but who will fund it? Because possibly it'll never give you money. So I used to write it down, and I had a brilliant idea. I still think that was a great idea. I took it to my dad, who was my first. I thought he's my VC, but he was not. Like most of the VCs, he told me, no, I'm not going to fund this, and things like that. So I think I worked for about 7-8 years before I started my company. And in that, I did have some 3-4 ideas which I have half-heartedly attempted. And that's another learning. Please do not attempt anything half-heartedly. That's either you have the full focus on that particular idea, because you can't get a job and working on an idea side by side. That's something that generally does not work out. So I was always into, I was reading about Elon Musk, I was reading about Steve Jobs. I was always very interested in all these entrepreneurs in terms of how do they come up with this, like something very futuristic. Steve Jobs, all the different kinds of books and documentaries around him I've seen. So these things, the fire in you that is burning at possibly whatever level 1, when you keep adding fuel to it, it'll come to a point where you'll be ready to jumpstart it, and that is what you should be looking to do.
Okay. So with this thing, I just got one important term, which was second year. Second year means you complete your 12th, you are in your first year, 2 semesters are done, and now you're in second year of your engineering. You have this thought. As per my knowledge and my experience, every idea is having a shelf life. Every commodity is having a shelf life. Every brainstorming is having a shelf life. So as soon as you get an idea, what you should do, you should stay over there. You should research about it. कि क्या करूं, क्या करूं, क्या करूं. Yeah, you immediately write it down and start figuring out कि how I'm going to execute it. Because it's not always about giving ideas or having ideas. It is more about going ahead and making sure that it is happening. But what happens usually with me or the majority of the people at my age, we think about bunch of things, right? And when it comes to actually executing it, we get lost because we never thought about it, like how are we going to do it and how it is going to give us the results. So how you figured it out in your second year of engineering that, okay, this is the idea. I'm going to start from A like this, B like this, C like this. So what was your plan of action at that point of time?
Okay. So 1, ideas have a shelf life, yes and no. There are times when one idea is very proper for this particular, say, generation versus something which is ahead of its time, right? So you'll have to park that idea if you think it can be implemented 10 years later also. Also, I'll give you another viewpoint around this. Say this company called Big Basket.
Okay.
It's for grocery, right?
Okay.
When Big Basket launched itself in 2010 or 11, somewhere around that, it was a big thing, and there are many parallel grocery services that came up. But Big Basket continued. Many of them died off, right? So we would have thought, okay, that idea had a shelf life, and because we have created a very big business now, a new idea which is similar to Big Basket will not be so, it will not pick up in 2015, 16, because 5 years back somebody's done that. But a lot of it boils down to your execution. You can have a great idea, but a bad execution, or you can have an average idea and a great execution. There are companies who have come later than Big Basket and have done well in the market and given competition to Big Basket. Big Basket is still a category leader, but they've given a competition, right? So that way, your idea needs to have, as you rightly said, execution plan, right? So you need to break it down in terms of, I always think a prototype is a good idea. So if your idea is say a technology based idea or a service based idea, create a small prototype around it and do it with, say, family and friends, and get in feedback. Consumer feedback will actually tell you about certain other steps. Like first step is your prototype, then second step is, now what are the different things that you will require for this business? Will I need a software developer? Will I need a team? Will I need, for doing all this, you will need funding, right? Do I have enough money for, say, a year? You can, pull in your friends and work out this thing, and then come to a point where you have a MVP, minimum viable product, in place, which can be in terms of services. से डिलीवरी मॉडल बनाया तुमने स्विगी की तरह कुछ बनाया है जो डिलीवरी करता है. तुमने यू क्रिएटेड 5 रेस्टोरेंट्स का 1 पिन कोड में दैट मॉडल, you've done this in house and you're able to show this model, right? To do this, you will take, say, 6 months. You should have enough cash for that, right, to survive if you're paying somebody, etc., and come to a place where your minimum viable product is ready, and then you can go to an investor or again to your friends and family. That's called a friends and family round. Seed investment कहते हैं. किसी भी seed में seed को पैसा देने के लिए, right? उसको seed investment कहते हैं. And then you have to build a more than an MVP. Then it's a product that you will build, and then you will need more funding. So step by step होता है. Prototype. Then you, from that prototype execution, you will come up with certain set of steps, what you will require for this, because you can have an idea you require this, but there's a possibility you won't. We generally, initially, अगर तुमको पैसे देने ना, तो you will spend that money for everything, buying everything. Oh, I need a software license also, I need 5 laptops also. You shouldn't do that in a startup. A startup is always very lean. Build a prototype, understand what you require actually to build an MVP, go to that MVP, get a seed funding, go for a bigger funding. And another one point, try building businesses which will not require funding after a certain period of time, which will self-fund the business, right? You should look at something like that.
Can you give an example for the same now? For any business to sustain in this 21st century, we are living in a post-modernized world. Everything has been modernized. Every design has been out over there. Nothing is going to come out new. When we talk about disruption is a factor, and you are saying that it has to be self-funding, right? The automation process has to go in that the revenue is coming into the picture, and you are self-funding it, and you are growing in the same way. But how to capture that disruption? Because everything has been modernized around me. Right now, you are working with artificial intelligence, and which is related to nutrition of foods and delivering it. You disrupted this market, but can you just help us understand what is the economics of disruption?
Right. So most of the technology businesses will not require huge amount of funding. I'll give you an example, and you should look up a couple of companies like Zoho. It is ZOHO, and Zerodha. It is ZERODH. Zerodha. Okay. These are a couple of companies who have not raised funding and have been doing very well. That's a business model. Wherein technology, it's technology, right? They have gotten software engineers, they've done the coding initially, they have gotten consumers. The product was so good that they got the early set of consumers without doing much of marketing and burning money in them. And they earned money from those consumers, invested money again, and got that thing. So these are like a typical set of examples, right? Technology right now can make you very powerful if you use it in the right way, right? So that's one of the examples. There are examples like Swiggy, Zomato, who have not been making money, who have been not making profit, is what I'm trying to say, who have been raising funds, right? So what they're doing is, it is a technology-enabled business, but it is a heavy business. wherein you're required to pay salaries of so many delivery boys, etc. Right? So they're commission-based structure, but there are many other things. So there are businesses which can fund itself, and there are businesses which need funding for a long period of time. There are businesses like uh, restaurant businesses, right? Cloud kitchen businesses. If you've heard of Fasos is been requiring funds from 2012. Since their inception, they're still raising money, but they will get to that scale. So understand this. Right now, it might just look a little complicated to you, but it is not. Your business should make money for itself, and initially you should start with that level of capital. It will be it can make money for itself. Technology driven business, if it requires number of people and real estate, like you require to hire a place and shops and marketing, all that, you will need to raise a lot of money, and it needs funding now. That you should be aware about. ये funding extensive business hai, intensive business hai, and this is a light business. Both are good, but you should be aware of what are you getting into.
Great. That was great insight. With this thing, I come down to a very interesting question, which is again you asked in the chat, and even I was supposed to ask this thing. When you are learning something, right? If we talk about your general skill sets right now, you might be having you are having particular habits, you are having schedules at the place, you are having general practices like you love to read book. So there will be some set practice that you will be reading 3 books, 4 books, 5 books a year or in a month wise, right? And apart from it, just say if we were talking about funds right now, fund management is a basic thing, which me being a 25-year-old, I don't know till date how to manage my own funds. Investment is also a point. You invest in people, you invest in a company, you invest in a lot of things. Finance is also there, marketing is also there, sales is also there, engineering is also there. Me being a human, I can't read all these things, right? I can only pursue a degree in one thing. So can you just help me learn, is having a degree at one point of time is really important, or having the skill set on the other hand is really important? At this point of time, if I'm in class 12, what is your experience and what are your inputs which you would like to share with that? Should I focus myself only on the academics right now, that I want a degree, and then later come back, okay, I want to do an entrepreneurship, or start my journey slowly from now onwards and then scale it up in the time to come?
Degree is to get a job. Degrees do not matter when you actually think about entrepreneurship. Steve Jobs, I don't think so he had a degree, which was, he wasn't a software engineer. Steve Jobs wasn't, right? So I'll give you my example and what I have learned. I'm a software engineer. I know coding, but while I was working, I left after a period of time. I went into consulting, so I stopped coding. That is what is a natural transition that will happen in most people's life, right? So when I started Ripsy, I wasn't coding. I had a degree, but I wasn't coding. I was looking into finance. So did I need a degree to look into finance? No. I looked up some videos on YouTube. I read up some few things. Things are very easy nowadays. People have made things very easy for you. About nutrition, I'm not a nutritionist, but I understand nutrition end to end like a nutritionist because I read it up. And it's not that you will require to read like 10 books around this. You're required to know fundamentals of it. Okay. It is not that you're looking to learn a new computer language wherein a new syntax you need to learn. That's not the case, right? So while you are starting up a business, you will require to be a good communicator. You need to be a good orator. Do you have good communication skills? Possibly not when you start a company, but you need to build on that. I built on it. Clarity of thought. Clarity of thought is one of the most important things because I'm communicating with you. If I'm not able to tell you exactly what I am thinking, I'm wasting your time, my time, and we will come up with a product which is useless, right? Patience, very important. I built it over a period of time. Your success is not going to come overnight. A lot of people jump into entrepreneurship because of fame. Okay, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a startup. It is going to kill you at times. Startups actually build you as a person also. beside you as professionally, right? So you need to have that patience. Okay, this meeting did not work out. Next meeting will work out. Next meeting. So how do you develop patience? There are no books to read for patience, right? It is something that you need to work on. Nobody else will do that for you because you took a call to be an entrepreneur. A lot of people, when I was going through bad phases in my, and every entrepreneur goes through that. People used to come back and tell me, but you chose this, right? We choose to be in this situation and still be confident about ourselves. Be patient about what we are looking to achieve. So patience, good communication, right? Be humble. Okay. There is a point where you'll have $1 million funding coming in, or you're doing very good. And there is another point that you'll come to where you are crashing. At both places, you need to be the same person. You can't be a superstar here and a villain here, right? These are not things that a degree can give you. Entrepreneurship is a 360-degree personality. If you meet entrepreneurs, and I'm nowhere close to that, I think they are way more charismatic as compared to any actor or actresses or people that I've met ever. So degrees do complete your degrees, but do not care so much about it. That's not going to give you everything in life, because your life is really long. That 4 years or 3-year degree is not going to help you.
I totally remember way back in my time. I'm a fourth generation mechanical engineer. Can you just imagine my father, his grandfather? We all are mechanical engineers by line. Why I did mechanical engineering? Because my father did it. Why my father did it? Because his father did it. So we in India have this practice of sugarcoating things, right? We don't say something very bluntly. Now, if I'm at full standard right now, I have completed my boards. I am going to seek an admission in an engineering college. And any good private engineering college is going to cost me nearly roughly around 15 to 20 lakh of rupees. Right now, can we have this mindset, or can we cultivate this thing in the students, those who are over here in the student community, that rather than investing all of your funds at one place in university degree, for example, let's take an example of Oyo, Ritesh Deshmukh. He invested all of his funding and all of his savings, which was meant to be for his college. He invested it in Oyo, and we see Oyo is now $9 billion startup right now, just in 10 years. How we get this courage? How we get started? Because you are gonna invest 20 lakhs, 25 lakh rupees in your BTech and get nothing out of it. But on the other side, there's a risk involved. So how you balance this both the things?
You can't balance this.
Okay.
There is no way to balance this. Understand this very well. Entrepreneurship is competing against luck.
Okay.
Okay. You need to take educated call. You need to take calculated risk. Okay. And you need to go ahead with it. There is a possibility you will spend this 20 lakhs in your education and you will land up a very good job. And if you invest the same thing in your business, it will become zero. There's a very good possibility of this. Okay. And vice versa, which you saw in Oyo's case, right? Both the scenario, it is your call. There is no way to balance this. And entrepreneurship is so Oyo started with, I'll give you took a very good example. I'll give you an example of Oyo. How did Oyo start? And I'll give you an understanding how you're competing against luck. The Ritesh is the founder. He went to people asking about money to build hotels. He wanted to build hotels initially. It was a very cash intensive business. उसको hotels बनाना था, उसको Oyo नाम लिखना था, and he wanted to create a chain of hotels which will be like standardized and things like this. Right? Nobody gave him money because it was a bad business model. He did spend his own money also, but while he was doing this, he realized it's a bad business model, and then he changed it to, I already have so many hotels out there who are not getting enough business. Let me tie up with them. They will look like Oyo. People will not get to know at the back end that they are not Oyo. And I will be able to achieve the same thing, but with more smartly. Right? So he pivoted. This is called pivot in a business. You had a business model, but you changed the business model. So what is this? This is being flexible. This is being dynamic. You're open to it. Okay, I'm being stupid. And it is very important that you know when you're stupid as an entrepreneur. And that is, those things will make you survive in entrepreneurship. Okay. So while you're taking such calls, be aware about pros and cons of it. And if there is a con, please don't call yourself a failed entrepreneur or failed this thing. There are no failed entrepreneurs. There are only ideas which have not worked. But entrepreneurs always succeed because you will come out with so much more, ideas around it. And I'll also give you one perspective around this, because most of the parents don't know. If you fail in setting up your business and you go out and put it in your resume, many companies hire you.
Okay, that was shocking.
Yeah, many companies hire. I mean, we look for entrepreneurs who. So if I have a resume of 5 people and somebody who is set up a business and has closed the business and is coming, he is way more advanced in his thinking and 360-degree approach versus somebody who is just into one particular domain or building something. So don't be scared in the beginning of the career. If you want to take that leap and you think, okay, I'll fail, what will happen if I fail? I'll go jobless. No, you'll not go jobless. There are so many startups looking for people with startup mindset. Okay, so if your parents tell you that, you have this thing to counter this.
Okay, this was a really great insight for me as a student, because I never wrote down my failed startup in any of my resume, because I
So you
was
should definitely write it down and tell them that what did you learn out of it. It's a degree. It's a degree which actually matter a lot in current scenario, because you've already done so many things from scratch. You know how to start a company, to build, hire, etc. So companies want to leverage that personality of a person.
Yeah. That's great. So at the same point of time, now I would like to connect this ideology. Earlier, when we talk about our nation, Bharat, we were joint families, right? Then there came an innovation, we were nuclear families. And now we are living individually. In a similar pattern, there was a time in 1890s and era of 2000s when we were into MNCs. We were into a global world. But right now, when we are looking out for entrepreneurship, again, it is something a nuclear concept that you move out of the corporate system and you start building your own things to serve a global problem. It is not about setting up the business, it is about solving a problem. So how you go and attack this problem, or how you figure out, okay, how I have to take the first step regarding it.
First step regarding, I missed you on that.
Okay, so let me reiterate it. When we were in the era of 2000s, working in an MNC or working in a company was a very big deal. When we talk about future, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, what you observe industry, like it is going to be MNC occupied, or it is going to be far more for entrepreneurship based, that the company, those who offer services on a very micro level, but are really very integral part of the international or a global supply chain management. So what, according to, is the future scale of this?
Future of it.
Yeah.
Okay. The future is one, future will be innovation driven. Okay. Rather than traditional business driven. Like what was happening 10, 15 years back, the technology wasn't evolving that fast. We had service sector being the industry leader. When I say service sector, I'm talking about, say, companies like TCS is there, and all Accenture is there. A lot of companies are there in software, and there are other companies. Right? Now, what is happening? There are so many small companies which are coming up, which are driving innovation. And this is also pushing the bigger companies to drive innovation. They've created innovation team, R&D team, wherein people are working and they are being pushed to file patents and pushed to. So even when you're working in a big company, you will work like working in a startup. They started adopting that kind of a mentality. So one is that future of entrepreneurship incrementally is much more bright. because you will see government has come up with a lot of schemes. If you don't know, please be aware that you should look up for kids. They've come up with so many schemes. You should register yourself, understand what are the things. There are benefits. You can possibly get funding also from there if your ideas are selected. Then Startup India portals are there, right? So, so when the ecosystem is maturing, you will definitely see more startups. Parents will become accepting to your ideas and you taking that risk. There will be more VCs who will be funding your business. Governments have created seed funds. There will be more funding institutes that will be, around this in future. Government organizations will definitely come up. There are state funds around this. You should look up about state funds in your respective states, right? And as I mentioned, right, technology is evolving. So technology is going to enable this in a much cleaner way now in future. So the risk factor associated with it will go down. While this goes down, all of you will want to at least go and figure out if you are an entrepreneur or not. Right? I've met people who have started a company and shut down a company and said, "Oh, I'm not an entrepreneur." That's all right. He took his chance, right? Yeah. And there are people who have hustled it through and they've been like, okay, this is my vice. And they've started a company, they've gone through bad phases, they've built a good business, sold it off and started another company. Because for them, that is something that gives them passion to get up in the morning, right? So if that is your calling, future is brighter for you as it was for me, as compared to me, because you have a great ecosystem and you have platforms like this, which will give you perspective around a kind of a dry run around how businesses are built. Okay. So definitely bright.
Okay. But this thing, I guess, this thing, as you were saying about patents, right? You have studied about so much things, you have worked on so many things, you brought out the great solutions and you patented it. You earn from patents, you earn from publications. That is a little way of earning also. How this is in direct correlation with the entrepreneurship journey. You study about something, you write a research paper about it, you do a patent about it. So how is this in correlation? I am bit sure that the patents you are having or the research papers you might be having are in relation to the startup or the technology you're working on, right?
Right. So it is in relation to the startup. Some of them are not. Okay. So one is that when you are working on a patent, you're basically using or refining analytical part of your brain, innovative part of your brain, or many other things, right? So it is, think of it like an exercise, and having a patent, even if it is not giving you money, is a great thing. That's one thing that you should be very clear about, right? Second, having a startup versus a patent are not always related. You can have a startup which is like Fasos, which is huge, is making revenue and does not have any patent associated with it, because there is no entry barrier to these kinds of businesses. I can also start something like Fasos, but execution is the key. They've executed it brilliantly. That is why Fasos has come to that level where so many other cloud kitchens couldn't be, right? That's one. So while you're talking about patents and or maybe any kind of skills associated with your startups, they are not very correlatable, right? If I want to solve a problem, I take that problem statement. As I mentioned again, I take that problem statement, understand what is my solution to that problem statement, build it on a smaller level, understand from that smaller level that what are the technical skills required. There could be a technical skill of coding. There could be a technical skill of content writing, right? All these things are not going to be with me. Neither I'm going to take out my time to build the skill. That's the worst way to go about it. I will try to do what I can do and then try and hire people for, or maybe get part-timers initially because you'll not have many, and then go further. So they are not very correlated set of things. Not every technology also will require patents.
Okay. Now, when we're talking about when a child is born, they learn walking by holding fingers of someone, right? When you are in college or when you are getting out of college or when you are in school or getting out of school, you don't know about real world. You don't know how it works. You don't know how the businesses are set up, or you don't know how the things are getting on the way. And these are the things which are not taught in any of the curriculum. You can't learn it online. You can't have an ebook regarding it. How you start learning? Like for me, I wanted to learn all these things. So way back when I was in my engineering college, I did like 17, 18 internships. Only one was required to get the degree, but I did 17 to 18 internships in plethora of fields, be it content writing,
Yeah.
marketing, sales, business development, PR, everything, because I wanted to have a taste of everything, so that one fine day when I'm having my entrepreneurship journey, I can use all these things. So what are your inputs regarding this thing? Like why learning experientially is very important when you are growing up from school to college and from college to your journey.
Right. In fact, you'll be very surprised to know we have interns who are in 12th standard. And so we create internships in our company. And there are interns who have applied who are 12th standard. I asked them, why do you want to do internship? Because they said, because I want to understand how does this work. And they're so passionate about it. They don't need money. They don't want a stipend. So while I was in college, I was trying to do the same thing, trying to get a lot of internships, but there was at times there were no opportunities available because to reach out to that the right company to do internship was not there. How do you reach out? Right now, you have so many places where you can reach out, do internships, get internship idea in terms of the whole experience. It is very important that you get to that place where you experience it real life, because it'll build you like the way a possible internship or a job will go, right? So you should do n number of internships during your summers, winter vacations. Maybe do internships in places where you think that is a skill that you have absolutely no idea, right? You want to develop it, so do it for free. Things that after a period of time, take a stipend for it. So these are things that you should look at, and internships definitely are one of the best ways to learn.
Okay. At the same point of time, ma'am, I was a person who personally thought that let me learn everything at first instance. When I am an encyclopedia in my own self, then I will start doing something. This is a general tendency in any human, that let me complete this thing and then I will go ahead and try. So, what are your recommendations about having technical skill set, soft skill set? Are these things you learn pre-hand or you learn on the journey of the same?
So there is only limited set of things that you can learn beforehand, right? Life keeps throwing you at very dynamic situations, and you cannot be all well prepared for it. Don't even try for it. You will feel like a failure, and then you'll look out for way to exit. So while you are in a situation wherein you don't know something, the best, when I'm hiring, the best people are those who say, I don't know it, but I'll make sure I'll get to learn. I'll learn it. You'd give me the work, I'll learn it and I'll do it. This is the attitude. You can learn anything. There is absolutely nothing that is preventing you from learning anything, right? You can. I hated finance. I have no idea about finance, but that's something that I learned. I mean, I understood. Okay, ऐसे करना है, ये है. I fundamentally got an idea, and I started building my model, which was something that I never thought I will do. So don't think about this data mining, wherein तुम्हारे दिमाग में सारी चीजें you've done prepared, and every time somebody will ask a question, you will fetch that data from your database. No, you're an artificial intelligent, you know, in that scenario. So तुम्हारे पास information पहले से नहीं होता है. Therefore, you can build it on dynamic platforms, right? So that is, I'm just trying to equate artificial intelligence to you right now. I hope the parallel is clear.
Okay. So just one final question before we close our session, ma'am. Uh, there are various experiences of life. There are various flavors of life. One is you understand it by talking to someone. की कहानी सुना दी किसी ने. One is by actually experiencing it. I beautifully quote this thing. It's all about pani puri is a life. Pani puris are of three types: khatti, meaty, and tikhi. Now everyone is having their own choices, but you try three of them and then you come down to a conclusion. So how you think about life has to be taken? It has to be based on someone else's recommendation, or it has to be our own journey and our own experiences, be it our career, be it our professional life, be it our personal life, how it has to be overlooked.
So definitely your own experience. You should talk to hundreds of them, right? But your life is, you have time in life. You should get that experience before jumping onto something. It is very important, and you should be very clear that you will never be very confident कि this is the thing that I want to do, because ऐसा नहीं होता है कि I was very clear from the beginning that I wanted to become an entrepreneur. वो clarity, you will not come to that 100% clarity. You'll always have questions, right? It's okay to have questions and doubts, but have you done your homework right in terms of landing to a decision is what you should look at. You should speak to subject matter experts. You should speak to people who are in that particular career. You should do career experiences. You should expose yourself as much as possible to that ecosystem and then take an informed call. Okay, because nobody can tell you. It is as simple as that. कोई मुझसे बोलेगा कि ये कितना इसमें कितना स्पाइस है, तो मुझे स्पाइस मेरे लेवल का लगेगा और उसको उसके लेवल का लगेगा, राइट? So don't take it at face value. Career is important. You're going to get up every day in the morning to do that same thing. It should be a play for you, not a work. So Confucius said that if you like what you do, you're not working a single day in your life because you're liking what you're doing, right? I mean, it's like, say, for example, Virat Kohli likes playing cricket. He's actually playing, he's not working. So it is like that.
Okay, that was a really beautiful insight about because we tend to confuse ourselves from time to time about what is actually making us happy. Is it money? Is it fame? There are a lot of things which distract us, but it is the real question of our life at the end of the day, what makes us happy, and figuring it out, that takes a considerable amount of time. So for the same, we are having this amazing opportunity, like the students are going to have some amazing internship in front of you, so we can have a little discussion. Can you shed this light what we are going to do in this internship program, which students are going to have with you? Like, we are having selected 25 students, those who are going to have this internship with you. So can you just shed light what is actually it is going to be all about, what can be the learning outcomes or out of it, and what are the benefits of it?
Right. So in this program, we will learn to understand how to start with an idea. What are the things that you need to do? The first step, right? We will discuss on those steps logically. Then you guys will start working on it because you need to get a real-time experience. And then we will evaluate that. And then we'll understand from that particular, the whole process is what are your takeaways as building a product, right? Because that's your first step in an internship in a startup. So with this course, you will learn building a product. Where do you come? How do you arrive at that? Doing it yourself, and what are the takeaways that you actually have while you are building that product? Your takeaways will be mixed. There will be takeaways that I will tell you that is there, and there are takeaways that you will yourself have while you working on that product. So it is like a real life experience of this step one.
That was a very beautiful insight. That was actually what we all, I guess, wanted to ask you. I tried to expand all the questions which our participants had. So first of all, I took a lot of time which was promised to you. First of all, I apologize for the same, but thank you for giving us this opportunity to reach out to you and understand what are the basic nuances of entrepreneurship and clearing even my doubts what this career has to offer. So thank you so much for taking us the time. in this hard times and be with us and shed some light about the entrepreneurship journey you had.
Thank you for calling me. It's always nice to talk about entrepreneurship. It just gives me a lot of passion, and I'm really, really passionate about this problem solving that we are doing. And I want all of you to become entrepreneurs, because you should create employment. You guys come from a background wherein possibly none of you will be, giving money to your parents to survive, right? We all are in that disposable income bracket. So if you are economically well placed, you should look at creating opportunities for others. So solving problem, creating this country, making this country a better place. So
That's
great.
all.
I should see you possibly in the internship program.
Sure. That's all we intended to do. Because what happens usually, students get confused when they are thrown with a lot of information. So we wanted to make sure that students are getting accomplished about what they are going to do, how this journey is going to look like, and what all we can intend having after having this internship. Because when I was growing up, I had no opportunity. When you were growing up, you never had any opportunity. So I just intend to offer this opportunity to every student who is out over there, that they can imbibe, learn as much as they can, and be out over there doing practical things with their own hands.
Yeah,
And be successful
definitely.
one
Sure.
fine day.
Yeah. All
So
right.
that's
So
all.
I will take your leave then.
Sure, ma'am. And thank you so much for being with us. We will be looking out for having far more conversations like this in the near future with you. Please have a great
Yeah.
evening ahead, and please take care of your own self. Please stay safe.
You guys too. I had a nice time, and somebody is asked. Yes, my company's name is Ripsy, RIPSEY. Um,
So
thank you, guys.
that's all. I
Thank
will
you.
be taking the questions. Don't worry about it. I will be taking the questions.
Okay. Okay. All right. Chalo.
That's
Bye.
all. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here.
Bye.
So, guys, first of all, I need a honest feedback from you all, guys, who are over here, the 28 of you who have been over here. Can we have a quick, like a feedback of the session? How was the session in the chat box? It will take a minute for you guys to figure it out, like how was the session, so that I can let you know about what opportunities you have and how you can be onboarded for this amazing internship. Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, Rachit. Thank you, Vyom. Thank you, Rians. तो 3 लोग ही अटेंड कर रहे हैं क्या सेशन? ओके, थैंक यू वेदांत, थैंक यू, अरे नाइस, थैंक यू नाइसा, थैंक यू फॉर बीइंग ओवर हियर, थैंक यू व्योम. Vyom, I'm going to call you up after this session. Thank you for being over there and listening so patiently. Okay, thank you so much, Kunalika. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Janisha. Okay, thank you, Naman. Thank you, Devank. Okay, so guys, I just want to share this one last thing with you. We are having a limited number of seats left for this amazing internship program. I've shared the link of this internship over here in the chat box. So if you can just go visit this page, it is going to look something like this, where you can figure out the internship options which are over here, which you can go ahead and try. And apart from it, if you are really looking forward to having entrepreneurship as your career option, you can go on the link which is given in the chat box, click entrepreneurship, fill in your details, pay the registered amount, which is okay. So for you all guys, let me have this amazing surprise. I'll be sharing you a discount link of 1,000 rupees. So the net price of this internship is going to be 4,900 rupees for you all guys. If you are really interested and you want to grab a seat out of over here, you can go ahead and register yourself by tonight, 12 a.m. We'll be closing the registration for this internship today. So if all of you are
Sir,
really
how will
interested,
you send the link?
It's in the chat box, beta.
In,
Haven't you received it?
of the discount link. Discount link.
Just a sec. I'm sharing you the link. I'm so sorry that you did not receive the link.
No,
Have
sir,
everyone
we
received the link?
received the link, but of the discount.
I guess you might have received the link, right?
Yes,
So,
we got it in the chat box.
yeah. And apart from it, I am also dropping you everyone a link to our link tree. So if you want to explore, like there are a bunch of options which we are having for you school students. If you really want to try like what is career experiences apart from entrepreneurship, if you really want to go ahead and try what entrepreneurship is all about, or what you want to talk about how the career talks are going to be lined up in the near future, or you are looking up to have this internship, you are having this link in your chat box. So I would personally recommend you this thing, that after this session, take 15-20 minutes of your own, invest on this thing and learn as much as you can, and look out for the opportunities you are seeking for, because this is like a one-time opportunity in your life, because this was not available. I invested whole of my life just to give you this opportunity. So make sure that you are making the best out of it. That's all I would like to share with you. And now I will be opening the session to everyone. Those who are having any doubts, any questions, you can go ahead and ask me. You can unmute yourself, come out and ask me this. Anyone, any questions before I end this meeting?
So,
Yeah,
so what if we've already paid for the session? Like,
that's all. That's really great. Congratulations. That's what I'm saying. We are having just a limited number of seats because we have already booked our seats. So very few seats are left, and we'll be closing the registration for the same.
okay, so
If
sir,
you are,
since this particular one starts from 12th June, at least that's what I saw, will there
yeah,
be a meeting before that, or will it start 12th June itself?
it will start from 12th June onwards.
Okay.
And
And will we
shortly
get the information somewhere on this link, or where will we get that?
okay, so 48 hours prior to the starting of the program, you will be receiving an email formal communication from us, where you will be
Okay.
discussing and you will be got about the timetable you will be following for the 3 weeks. And
Okay.
Vedant, you are looking for this link. You will be getting it in the email, and as well as I will be sharing it with you right after this session. I will be calling you up and sharing the link with you. Anyone else? Beyond any question?
Yes, sir. Sir, I had a question. When I checked the site, there was seats filled for I'm looking for a biology inclined internship. So what I saw is that the cell biologist intern were closed. So is there an option or a
You can go for the doctor one. Nah? There is a doctor internship. If you are really looking out for a medical sciences, you can go ahead for the doctor one.
yeah, all right. Okay.
Uh, Anyone else? Raina,
I
Janisha?
want to ask something. Yeah, I missed one of the previous sessions. I think it was on interior design and architecture. I missed that session.
Okay.
So, can you all share the recording for that?
The thing is, we follow the strict policy of having the privacy at the right place, so we don't share any of your content with anyone. If you really want to know about what this career is all about, we can get on a call after this session.
Okay. And are all gonna have this session again? Like, any of these career sessions
Yeah,
again?
yeah, yeah. If you can go, I have shared the link of the link tree to everyone, right? There's a option which is known as career talk. So you can go and click on that career talk option. Okay, let me show it to you guys.
Okay.
Are you able to see the screen over here, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So this is how. So this is how it is going to look like. If you can open it on your web browsers also, you can go ahead, and over here you are going to find the Supro's career talk which you are talking about. So if you are really interested in looking forward to have any career talk, you can go ahead and choose the one over here. Fill the details, you will get the link automatically. Okay. Was it answered? Anyone else and having any question? Rachit, I guess you are mute if you want to have a word. Rachit, you are mute.
Sir,
Sorry.
will we have for animation specialist?
You can go ahead and check it on the link. I can't answer it right away over here. There is schedule for everything. Apart from it, anyone is having any other questions before I end this chat?
No, sir.
I guess everyone have received their links. Uh, Please remember that the registrations will be closing out tonight 12, and no lateral entry will be allowed. So if you are really interested, go ahead and book your seat over there. So thank you for reaching out and being over here with me, staying connected with me and understanding what we were all discussing about. I hope I was able to share some insights to you all guys, which will be eventually helpful today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow in your life. So thank you for being over here. And I will be looking forward that if you can bring your friends, you can bring in your family members and be over here and make this community over here, because we are having this thing which is known as student sucrose clubs. So for every internship you're getting in, you will be having, you can be president, you can be vice president of that club. You can manage that whole club by all your own self. And the students, those who are looking for the discount coupon, it's the link is over here in the chat box. So that's all for today. And thank you guys for being over here with me. Please have a great evening ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, is your name Nakul or
Uh, my name is Rajat, and my senior's name is Nakul Jan.
अगर ये हाथ है तो मैं इनकी लकीर हूँ जिन हाथों ने मैं मुझको दबाया उन हाथों की तो देख फिर तो मैं संजीव हूँ अमीरों वाला ख्वाबशा को इनकी धूल सोने में सुंदर ये कांटे वाले फूल फूल पे हर रोक मेरा फूल चला है